So I'm not sure why, but this week I feel really inspired to push you to really go for your dreams and to go with what you feel led to do. So, something about me is that I have been a dietitian and a nurse for the last. I graduated from with my degree in nutrition in 2011. And then I got my nursing degree in 2017. So I've been a dietitian and a nurse for 12 years combined. And I've always just gone the typical route. I worked in my field. I worked in at the health department, and then I worked for the state while I was a dietitian, and then I worked in a hospital, and then now I'm working as a school nurse. And I talked about it in one of my previous videos about how I think that there's a season for everything. And in my life, I've gone through a lot of seasons. And so I worked as a dietitian and for about 2.5 years, and probably about year two, I just had an itch to do more. And that itch turned into a whole nother career. And I was thinking about it last night, and I just was like, nursing was probably one of the best things that I ever did. It was the best decision one of the best decisions that I've ever made, because I really feel like it's my calling, and I absolutely have a joy for it. And I talked about in one of my other videos about how just with the seasons when it comes to my nursing career, how I did hospital nursing for 3 years, and now I've done school nursing for 3 years. And so I made the decision to quit my school nursing job and go full-time into my business. Now, my last day at my school nursing job is going to be June 2nd, so I have a while. But kind of what they do is they make you tell them early, like in January or February, if you're going to come back or not. And so I had to tell them early on, like in February, that I wasn't coming back for June. And it just felt right. It felt right to do it. I've never really felt like, because, of course, every year I've gotten that letter, and I have just never felt like I did not want to come back. But it was like this year, I just was like, this feels right. I really don't have a desire to come back because I really want to go full throttle into my business. And so I can't remember when, but I told my parents, because my parents are very old school. Both of them, my mom, she was at the same job for 40 years. She worked in a school district here in Arkansas for 40 years. Now she switched between schools and stuff. She didn't stay at the same school for 40 years, but she was in the same district for 40 years. And my dad is the same way. He's been at the same company for over 30 years. And even when I was a dietitian and I switched jobs in between, departments, because I still work for the state of Arkansas, but I just went to a different department. He was so against that, because he just felt like you should stay at the same job forever. You shouldn't leave. And that's what I found that people that age feel like. And they're 67. So that's just kind of what they believe. And I don't really think that anything is wrong with that for them, because it's worked very well. My mother retired very comfortably, and she loved what she did. And my dad is the same way. He's been with the same company. He's a computer technician, and he absolutely loves his job. I mean, he absolutely loves it. And for me, my love has come in spells. Overall, I love being a nurse. I've loved being a dietitian. I love being a nurse more than I love being a dietitian. But my love for my field, the area that I'm working in, just kind of over time has just slowly diminished. At one point, I loved working in the hospital. I loved it. Same for school nursing. At one point, I loved it. But just kind of over time, it's just been it's time for something new. And it does kind of hurt me to leave. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, because I told my parents, I almost got sidetracked. I told my parents, and it was a while ago, it was probably November, December, that I was I really want to go into my business full time. And of course they were not the biggest advocates of it. They didn't really feel like it was a good idea, but I just was like, I just really want you to support me and be comfortable with the decision that I'm making. And so really much was not said after that, but my mom, like, because she worked for a school district, and obviously I work in a school district as a school nurse, but like she messaged me, she sent me an email, and she might have said something to me too, but she was like, if I were you, I wouldn't tell them, that I wouldn't basically like put it in a resignation letter, because your benefits are going to stop. So your insurance may stop, and they may try to do something with your retirement. So when she told me that, I didn't really think much of it, because I felt like she was trying to deter me from from my decision. But then later on, shortly after, I got the resignation information, and it said like your benefits are going to be fine up until this date. Just like, even though you send this resignation letter in, like everything is going to be fine. Like, we're not going to just cut your benefits and say that you don't, that you can't have anything anymore because you're not coming back next year. And so I didn't even tell her that, because I don't know why I didn't tell her that. I think I just knew how she felt about the situation. So it's like, I didn't want to stir the pot anymore. And so we went away this weekend for a church conference. And before we left, that day we left, somebody called me, somebody that works in my school, because I haven't really told anybody. I've only told 2 people at my current job that I'm leaving. And so somebody, though, called me on my work phone, and they were like, hey, Nurse Spell. They call me Nurse Spell. They were like, Nurse Spell, where are you going? And I was like, what are you talking about? And they were like, I was being nosy, and I saw in the school board minutes that you're resigning. And so I told her that I was going full time in my business. I was like, dang, like if I didn't even know about that. And so I started to call my mama and tell her that, but something was like, no, I don't feel like talking, and we're about to be together this whole weekend. So I'll just talk to her when we see each other. And so, not realizing that I haven't told this woman that I turned in my resume. Like, she doesn't think I'm for real. Like, she doesn't think I'm going to resign and go full time with my business. So, not remembering that, not, realizing that this final, that I've turned in my resignation letter, that my last day is June 2nd. And, because I'm already knowing like she's not going to be okay with it. And so, but I'm not thinking about this. I'm just thinking about telling her that somebody being nosy and that somebody called me. But, anyway. And so we got on the trip, and probably I think it was that Saturday, we were just out, we were eating lunch in the hotel. And I was like, I meant to tell you. Now, and mind you, I was half asleep because I had just woke up from like a 2.5 hour nap. And so I'm blaming it that I wasn't in my right mind. But anyway, I was like, I meant to tell you that somebody called me and said and asked me, was I resigning? And she was like, you resigned? And I was like, yes. And she was like, I told you not to do that. And y'all, when I say I felt like a child, like I'm 34 years old, but I like literally felt like a little child when she said that to me. And I know that was not her intention. Like, I know that she was not trying to make me feel any type of way about it, but it just was such disappointment in her voice when she said that, when she realized that I had resigned. And so I guess I just am telling this story to say that I really feel like you have to live your life for you. So my parents did and are doing, because my dad is still working, like they're doing and did what works best for them. Like, they love their job. They loved their job. My mother, like, it was really their calling, and really is my dad's calling. And I feel like, that's okay. But I think that you have to live a life that you're going to be proud of, and that you're not going to have any regrets about. And so a part of me, after that conversation, I did question, and I'm just like, am I doing the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? Like, did I make the wrong decision? Which is one reason why I wasn't even intending on saying anything to her or them about it until like after the fact, until after June 2nd is when I was going to say something, because I did not want them to change my mind about it. And I just knew that that was going to be the case, that they were going to try to change my mind about it. And not even necessarily in the words of saying, don't do that. It's not a good decision. Like, just those words, like, I told you not to do that. That made me like question everything. And the most ironic thing about that is, so I told y'all like a few weeks ago, I went on a business conference or a mastermind. And like one of the big topics that one of our sessions was like, why are you doing this? Like, what is your mission behind your business? Like, why do you want to do this? And y'all, I just went into this whole full like spiel about how this is my passion. Like, I mean, just almost in tears about why I wanted to do this. And it just really like renewed my sense of like why I even started my business and why I wanted to do this. Like, I just felt like an entire like rebirth of purpose, and was just like, I really am doing the right thing. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, I know. And I even brought up my parents. I even said, like, even though I know my parents don't agree with this, because I'm not married yet. So those are the people, like, those are my people. And so that I go to for things. And so, I was like, even though, my parents are not the most supportive of it, like, it's like just really something that I want to do. And y'all went into this whole spiel about that, and then even came back and just had a renewed sense, like, just a momentum and just doing things. And I mean, just was so sure. Like, and even coming back from that weekend, I was like, I definitely made the right decision resigning. And then it was just like one conversation and one comment made me question everything. And it literally almost, like, when I think about it, it almost brings tears to my eyes, because I'm just like, these are the people that love me the absolute most. But they don't understand that they are just really, that I just really feel like that they're holding me back from my best life. And that's hard, y'all. That is so hard. Like, it's really hard. And it really does make me emotional to really even say that out loud, and to even think it, because I know that they only want the best for me. But I feel like I have to do what's best for me. And so I don't know if there's I hope somebody can relate to this, and I really hope that this video speaks to someone, because like I said, I just feel like you always have to do what you feel like is best for you. Like, if you really feel like you are called to something, like that it is something that you are good at, that other people have told you that you're good at, that you just feel, you just get a different sense of happiness and excitement and passion. And I'm not saying that my business is always like joy and happy and clapping. Like, there's a lot of things that I've had to deal with that have been very stressful. And I think being an entrepreneur is stressful and not the easiest, and that there are going to be a lot of things that come with it. But I just still feel like you should always go after what you want and always go after your dreams, because you just don't want to live in a sense of regret. And I just want to share something with you all, because my principal, he sent out an email, and this email really resonated with me, and I feel like it was perfect timing. But he was talking about how he has a little girl, and he was reading her a book, Winnie the Pooh. And he says, let me move my camera. And he says, as Pooh notes in his instruction book, life is about more than cozying up in our favorite corners or staying in our safe spaces to avoid the unknown. Putting ourselves out there leads to new experiences, essential lessons, and valuable friendships we never form staying safe at our proverbial home. There's an astounding, enriching world just waiting beyond our comfort zones, if we're brave enough to leave our corner of the forest. To that end, we must move out of our comfort zones towards ultimate greatness. And y'all, it just makes me emotional even thinking about it, because it does something to me to go against what my parents think, because they've never really ever intentionally led me wrong. Never. But I think that this statement is so true, that when we stay in our safe spaces, we're not able to grow, and we're not able to really reach our full potential. And so when we do go out there in the unknown, I mean, it's just like there are so many different endless possibilities. And so I just say, don't become a creature of comfort. Don't become a victim of comfort, because I think that comfort is it can really become, you can become a victim to it. But really just do it. I mean, what do I have to lose? And that's the other thing that I tell myself, like, literally, what do I have to lose? What do I have to lose? And what do I have to gain? Like, literally, like, what if everything works out? And that's what you have to ask yourself, like, because I think our mind always shifts to the negative, but it's like, what if everything works out? Like, what if I make 10, because that's my goal, like this month and the next 3 months. Like, what if I reach my goal of $10,000 a month? Like, what if I make 6 figures? What if I become an international and national speaker? You know, what if the best case scenario happens? Because if we think about it, you know, our lives are usually, everything always works out. Like, if you think about it in your life, like, everything has literally always worked out. Always. Everything has always worked out for me. I am so blessed. That's one of my affirmations that I say every morning. I am so blessed that everything works out for me, because it does. And it will. Like, if what you're doing is really what you're called to do, and you have peace about it and you feel good about it, just do it. You know, and it doesn't matter what somebody else has to say about it. Now, obviously, like, my parents are not my spouse, and I know that it can be a little bit different with a spouse or with a significant other or with a partner, you know, that you may live with or be with. But I still think that at the end of the day, you always have to choose you, because you don't even want to look at your partner and feel resentment and feel like that they held you back from living your best life and doing something that you really wanted to do. And I think that too is like a fear of theirs as well, like, because a lot of people, like, that are in my mastermind, well, all of them, they're married. So they have a second income to depend on if something goes awry with them. But I have nothing to depend on, nothing to fall back on but God. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And so I really want to get off this before I start crying, because I just don't want anybody. I love my parents more than anything, and I know that there's somebody in your life that loves you more than anything, that may be the same way that they are, that are just kind of throwing their limiting beliefs on you. But don't listen to them. Be respectful. You know, I was not disrespectful to my mom when we had that conversation, but also at the same time, you just have to let them know that you're doing what you feel like is best for you, and that you're gonna do it. And I promise, like, if something goes awry, she's gonna have my back. Now, she may say I told you so, but I'm just such on a high, and I feel so good about what I'm doing that I know she won't ever have the opportunity to tell me that. Matter of fact, like, she's gonna benefit immensely from my success, because I owe it all to her anyway. She's the reason I got into nutrition, you know, and she supported me when I wanted to go to nursing school. So she'll never have the opportunity to tell me she told me so. Matter of fact, I'll be able to tell her I told you so. So I really hope this helps. We just got to stop living mediocre lives. I'm just so tired of, like, we don't have to be broke. We don't have to be unhappy. We don't have to be sick. We don't have to be sad. Like, I just am so sick of seeing us, you know, just mediocre, because we don't have to be. And we're not mediocre people. So remember that. Okay, love you guys. Bye.